Hey guys, welcome back to Maxplained, Dawn of Unification. Today I have another faction guide for you, this time for the Raven Guard. The Raven Guard are a Space Marine faction, Space Marine chapter. In fact, their trait is mobility and stealth, and that's also represented in their implementation in Unification. They have a lot of jumping troops, they have a lot of stealth mechanics, they have mobility mechanics, early deep strike, sprinting marines, stuff like that. So there's a lot more to it that you might not think when you first look at them. Also some special weapon loadouts, early veterans, stuff like that. So they are very unique in many ways. If you first look at them, they look, just marines with jetpacks, but they are more than the eye meets at first. Their currently strength, I think, is a little above average. They were pretty strong when they first released in 7.0 and have been received a fair share of nerfs already. Maybe there will come a handful more or not. I'm not really sure what is coming up for them, but yeah, they are currently in the tier list a little, let's say a when A is the goal, they are a little A plus, you could think of. All right, enough of the pre-talk, let's jump into the save game. And here we are in the save game, and this is also a little new map that was added or implemented in 7.0 here, which is Paradise Falls. Shoutouts to Barbados for implementing these maps, really nice work. And yeah, as usual, we see here all the different units and buildings and stuff in one fell swoop. Let's talk about the resources and unit caps. Resources, as you see, are standard requisition and power. Requisition is stick old standard, you get it from the HQ, from listening posts, you get requisition upgrades in tier 2 and tier 3 and so on and so forth. What is a little special is the power. The power still is received via generators, but the difference is, not sure if it's decaying, no, is that your plasma generators generate plus 15, and therefore they also cost a little more. Instead of the 135, they cost 180. I haven't calculated, I think this is not 1.5 times the price, because the initial cost is, how should I say, if the initial cost is too high, you cannot get them in time, so you cannot just scale it upwards in that sense, and you only get the power gift for them 4 times before you cannot build more generators. This has upsides and downsides. The upside is you can live and play with 1 or 2 generators, probably the most of tier 1 and tier 2. You generally do not want to build more than 1 generator with them in tier 1 if you can help it. This also has the downside that you cannot scale as flexible, in a sense, that if you say, okay, I need 20 power, but you can only get 15 and 30, something like that. And also this is kind of a player trap for people that aren't aware of these power gain from the generators. They build their normal quote-unquote amount of generators and then they float a crap ton of power. I've seen it in games before, but if you know that this is the case, you can play very well with it. That's the resources. The unit caps are also standard with infantry and vehicle pop. Infantry or squad pop, you start with the 10-0 as the usual, get up to 20-20. Also, how you get there is pretty standard-ish. You get squad pop by getting sergeants, by getting infantry pop resources from HQ twice, and vehicle pop you get from your machine building, from your Titan building, and of course from the pop researches, 4 of which you can get from your HQ. So this is also pretty standard. Okay, I think this is now the resources and stuff. Let's talk about the buildings, and the buildings become a little special very quickly, but yeah, for the starters it is more or less standard. You have the Raven Spire, which is your HQ. I just wanted to show you that there's no visual differences between the tiers, so you cannot tell by looking at it as an opponent which tier the opponent is, just from looking at the HQ. The HQ, however, is as usual, gets builders, cappers, cap increases, and a command later on. And what is special about them, that you get your ASM and also your Vanguard veterans from your HQ and not from the barracks. So this is a little difference, and there's also a special research I will tell you later here. Then your barracks with your standard infantry, nothing special here. Machine building also really standard. You will see later that you have quite a lot of flyer available for you. Of course, also your Raven Guard arsenal with all the researches, and your sacred artifact for your commanders. Pretty standard. What is a little special, however, is the Raven's Purge here, which is your orbital relay. This is available in tier 2 already. You cannot build Terminators in tier 2, obviously, but you can get Marines and turret mods in here, and also I think Scouts and everyone can jump in here and can then be deep striked. And there's a special property if you deep strike some units, that's why I'm using it here. If you deep strike them, units around the drop pod will get infiltrated for a while, including the units that are dropped. You see that the range isn't as big if the drop pod is here, it's like this. But still, the unit itself, of course, is infiltrated for a while, but also units around it. So I'm thinking or was planning on doing a strategy in tier 2 where you more or less quickly get this Raven Purge and deep strike, let's say, Dreadnoughts or Space Marines in, and more units like Scouts and stuff. You build in more and more Scouts, for example, or get some Scouts in. And just use more and more of these. Oh, you can't get them in. Okay, that's interesting.
Show me what needs building.
But you can get your builder in. Whatever. Get some units in, and then deep strike them over, so you have some more infiltration around. So this was an idea I had. So Raven Purge available in tier 2, deep striking in tier 2 available with some infiltration. And of course, then you have the Deliverance Guild, which is your Titan production building, and you only have a tier 1 Titan. You do not have a tier 2 Titan with the Raven Guard yet. I'm not sure if there's one planned or not. Resource wise, you have of course your listening posts. Listening posts get heavy bolters and then the assault cannons later on. You have your plasma generators, thermal plasma generators for economy. And then you have your turrets, and the turrets are a little special. First and foremost, your first turret isn't a heavy bolter turret, it is an assault cannon turret, so it should deal a little more damage, I think. And it also has some special upgrades. You see that everything is infiltrated here. That's because of the shadow. It's called actually the Shadow Spire. Interesting. I think, yeah, Shadow Spire, Raven Spire, a lot of spires. This is working kind of like the Eldar webway gates that can infiltrate stuff around. So everything around it is infiltrated, including the thing itself. Not sure if this is also true for the thingy-majigs, if it also infiltrates itself. Not sure really, but yeah, it infiltrates itself. It's tier 3, however, and the range isn't super high. I think it should start. Maybe there's some delay on it. Yeah, okay, about here. Okay, this is actually pretty huge. For buildings, if it needs to infiltrate buildings, you need to have the I think the middle of it close to it. Quickly check. I think if I build a turret just here, it should not. Or is it? Oh, it's barely. So basically, the middle of the buildings need to be in this and the radius. And then you can upgrade it to standard missile turrets in tier 2, and also have minefields. So pretty standard over there as well. So you see there are some neat things sprinkled around it. Okay, that's already about the buildings. I think quickly thinking, no, this is basically it. Yeah, now we talk about the units. We start off with the commanders and commander-like units. You have your builder. We always start with the builder. Your builder is also commander armor. It is a Tech Marine. The Tech Marine can build and repair, and you see a special trait here. Actually, I will talk about this trait overall now that we talk about it. All infantry, all foot infantry that does not have jump packs can use the tactical sprint. That's already available right away. You click on it and then the unit sprints about. Let's use this builder as an example. You can sprint, and this decreases accuracy, so you sprint but you cannot you deal less damage, but you can upgrade it in your Raven Guard arsenal in tier 2 so that it lasts longer, and then in tier 3 that you get actually accuracy increases with it. So this upgrade is pretty powerful, but it's tier 3, so then your units can use it for engagement instead of just disengagement. And you see that there's also another ability that shares a cooldown, which is Hunt, which makes your infantry units, also all commanders and jump troops as well, infiltrated for a while. This is not researched right away. You need to research it from your HQ. I've researched at once. And similar to the sprint, there's in tier 2 and tier 3 equivalent upgrade for it that increases the time, and then even and the last one gives them some regeneration while it's active, so you can use this as a regeneration trait for you. So this is how it goes. And as I said, the sprint, every foot unit that has no jump back can use it, and every unit that can sprint, and every unit basically can use the hunt ability over here. So the builders of course can do it as well. This makes turret rushing very cool, or generally aggressive strategies, or if you basically want to start your eco game earlier, you can use the sprint on your scouts, for example, to get the capping faster done. Then use the sprint of the tech marines to get around and build more efficient. So yeah, keep it handy, use it as much as you can. The cooldown isn't the biggest, so you might as well use it. So this is your builder. Now quickly talking about commanders in general, you see that a lot of these commanders can jump, not all, but most of them can jump, and they can only attach to other jumping troops. They cannot attach to foot soldiers, they can only attach to the jump troops, which they have 2 of which is basically your ASM and your ASM veterans. That's the only squads they can attach to. They cannot attach to foot soldiers without jetpacks. This is also true for the skull probe over here. The skull probe detects, can be get infiltrated with the research, can use the sabotage ability, and it can jump here. So this is an added utility for the Raven Guard, that their skull probes can actually jump. Your first commander is your brother captain. That's basically more or less a force commander with a jetpack. You only have 1 jump enabled, so you want to use it mindfully, if that's a word actually. And yeah, it has still the properties that it can stun units, but the percentages has been slowed down, and also his stats are a little bit lower than your normal force commander for making up for his increased mobility. I think he's also a little bit faster because of his jetpack. He can get upgraded with this inspiring aura with a battle cry, which increases damage further, and then also orbital bombardment later on, which does exactly what you think. In tier 2 you get access to 2 more commanders, which is one your Reclusiarch, which is basically a chaplain with a jetpack. And then you have your librarian Codicer, please tell me. Basically librarian with a jetpack, but he has some special abilities. He can detect, of course, and the chaplain can increase regeneration, of course, and has a demoralizing shout, which slows and breaks a enemy unit for 10 seconds. The librarian can detect, and also has abilities that are not the normal librarian abilities. You have enveloping darkness, which is basically unable to shoot and fight efficiently. Basically, I think disables weapons, maybe even basically a blind ability, I think it could be. Then you have the darkness within, basically damaging and slowing an enemy squad, which is really nice. And then you have the abyss. The target takes damage and is forever more compelled to listen to radiate. So there's some single target, I think, damage. So there you have the librarian, all very offensive based abilities, nothing like the armor of the emperor or whatever it's called for the standard librarian. Then in tier 3 you have access to the stranger, and the stranger really looks really strange, but it's really cool. Look at the cool sword and the Volkite. This looks like a, I'm not really sure about its words, but it's a one-handed Volkite. It also has this cool aura symbol around him. Is very fragile, as you can see here. It's for a tier 3 commander. He cannot jump, so he can also not attach, but he can sprint, he can use the hunt, and has intono mode, which makes him basically invulnerable for a short amount of time. And he also has an aura, I think, quickly to heal themselves, basically him, and those around him. So basically another kind of regeneration aura for units around him. And then in the end we have this guy who is looking like Tobey Maguire over here. He can spawn with helmet or with or without helmet. Kai Van Shrike. No real idea who this is actually in the lore, but yeah, he is your tier 4 commander. Now that I see it, I think he has an aura for people around him. I'm not sure what the aura actually does, it doesn't say it, but he can also use the battle cry and has 2 special abilities. He can attach and jump as well. The glower, movement speed, this is basically a demoralizing shout. Target ability, basic breaking the morale of an enemy and slowing them. And then you have Brute. Heals himself very rapidly while not being able to use abilities and stuff. I think, is he able to move? He's not able to move or attack while this is active, but he will heal his wounds pretty quickly using this. So there you have your commander assortments over here. And now talk about infantry. I told you about the infantry movement stuff already, so let's you see it again over here, the tactical sprint and hunt ability on the scouts, for example. The scouts are already pretty special. You can get a scout sergeant, which is not as special, but the weapon loaded. You have Hellfire heavy bolters, sniper rifles and missile launchers. Sniper rifles is, as you would suggest, expect. Sniper rifles are just available in tier 2 without an additional research needed, so they come online later but are not tied to any research. And in tier 2 and an armory, you get your Hellfire heavy bolters, which is basically a heavy bolter but better in a sense. Hellfire means that it burns enemies, I think. Has a small area of effect, which is the big kicker, I think, here. Very good against infantry and demons. And then you have your missile launchers. Your stick old standard missile launchers you normally would find on your Space Marines are here on your Scout Marines. Very important unit. It's your go-to anti-vehicle unit in early tier 2, basically. Then you have your Space Marine squads in tier 1 available. The Space Marines also can sprint and use invisibility when research, can use also frag grenades once researched, and the sergeant gives them a rally. You will see the rally on basically every unit here that has a sergeant, almost every unit. Weapon loadout is a flamer, a plasma gun, and look at it, a frag missile launcher. So this is not your standard normal missile launcher, which is anti-vehicle. This is a frag missile launcher for long range anti-infantry. So this is very special and cool. Very strong, very hard to fight against them if you do not know how. And you also know that you have 2 leaders here. You have a sergeant for the rally ability, but also a apothecary over here, which gives them regeneration and an additional model. And there's something I wanted to test here that I haven't tested so far. If you research plasma pistols, does the apothecary also get a plasma pistol? It does not. Okay, so it's like Melinda Space Marine, so do not get 2 plasma pistols in one squad. That's I think fair. And this means you can get a lot of apothecaries. This is also a little, how should I say, circumvention that you cannot attach commanders to these squads. You just get apothecary to the squad once researched, once built. Very pricey, however, but yeah, I think it's worth the money. And then you have the Dark Free Assault Squad, which is your ASM, your Assault Marines, but they are better ASM. That's why they're also a little more expensive, because they start with dual lightning claws. This is very good in melee, of course, but not as good in range, because they do not have any ranged weapon on it. They also cannot research any ranged weapons. Only their sergeant has a pistol about them. They can use melter bombs, once research, rally, hunt, and jump ability. One thing that you might have noticed while looking at this, that is the squad size for the Marines and also for the ASM is a little lower than your normal squad size, especially if you subtract these commanders. It's only 6 instead of, I think, 8 for Space Marines. So Space Marine spam doesn't work as well for them. It is more about, as I said in the beginning, their mobility and their stealthiness. So the utility makes up for the squad size in a sense. In tier 2, you get access to basically quite, you can think of it an upgraded version of each. You have these more Vathan, which are special, always infiltrated snipers. They do not start, of course, with this Volkite Culverines. The Volkite Culverines are only available in tier 4, so they start off with normal, quote-unquote, sniper rifles, I think. Are permanently invisible, can use the tactical sprint and frag grenades. And yeah, for what they are, they're really expensive, but as I said, they're always infiltrated and very useful unit overall. You see that they're also good against vehicles and buildings with their initial weapons, so they can also work as your initial anti-vehicle in tier 2, because they do not require anything in tier 2 apart from being tier 2, of course. Then you also have access to Stern Guard veterans and Vanguard veterans right away in tier 2, which is very early veterans. They, however, have a little less health, I think, maybe, than the Space Marines variant of these veterans. They also have different weaponry. The Stern Guard veterans over here have these, what are they called, Stalker bolters, whatever, these sniper rifle kind of unit stuff, and you see that they also need to set them up, so that's down and also upside. They have strong weapons but need to set up and can tie down in melee, of course. You also get access to a Stern Guard veteran sergeant as well as a apothecary. Again, a apothecary over here can use frag grenades, sprint, hunt, and rally. Of course, the apothecary will heal them as well. The weapons are interesting. You can get a heavy flamer more or less right away, but then you can also get a plasma cannon and a las cannon in tier 3 and a graviton gun in tier 3 as well. The graviton gun is limited to 1, however. In overall you can get up to 3 with the researches. And here we have the Vanguard veterans. Vanguard veterans are your melee superiority unit in tier 2. They also have the storm shields and stuff, can get different weapons, however. Also get a sergeant, of course, can get power weapons and lightning claws right as they get out in tier 2. In tier 3 they can also get power fists and thunderhammers, and I think thunderhammer is really nice to have on these lads. They are all very tanky as well. Scale well with the infantry upgrades and whatnot. Can use melter bombs, rally with the sergeant, and also hunt. The hunt ability, as you can see it, as the Dark Fury Swordswords can also use it. In tier 3 you get another sniper unit, this time the Polaris Eliminators. They are infiltrated only when they are idle. When they shoot, I'm not sure why they are not why they are now permanently infiltrated. Maybe this is something with death mode or upgrade that I'm not really have read correctly, but they are now permanently in this here. Normally they are, when they move, it's like the shadow specters, I think, for Eldar. When they move they get visible. They get a sergeant for rally. They can hunt, they can sprint, they can use melter bombs, and they can use combat shotguns, which I find interesting for a tier 3 unit. But yeah, I guess it's a very good shotgun, and also can use sniper rifles. They start with these kind of stalker kind of bolter units as well, and has really cool capes, if you ask me. Then also in tier 3 with their orbital relay, the Raven Purge, I think it's called, you get access to Terminators and Assault Centurions. Your delivers are the Terminators called. Also very low on squad size, only 4 without the leaders. Can do Terminator things. They can teleport, they can do Raven Guard things in sprinting and hunting, so they are very mobile for Terminators with the sprint, and could rally with the Sergeant. They also have a Terminator Apothecary for some healing support, can get a heavy flamer and an assault cannon in the squad. Very standardish in terms of loadout and stuff. And then you have these cool Assault Centurions, melee focused Centurions over here with a lot of plating, as you can see here, a lot of health on these 4 models, get only 3 models and a Sergeant. The Sergeant does not give them rally, but gives them a lot of beef. They can sprint, they can hunt, they can teleport. Teleport for those who must be researched. And yeah, I thought they had target ground, but I think I'm mixing them up. So you see a lot of potent infantry in tier 2, especially with the veterans and the Mordaton, and tier 3 more potent is also with the 3 special squads you can get. These are all limited to 1. The Stern Guard veterans and the Vanguard veterans are limited to 2. So you can get either 2 Vanguard veterans or 2 Stern Guard veterans, or 1 each basically. They have a shared cap. Okay, this is the infantry. Now we jump over to the vehicles, and the vehicles you can see here are there aren't a lot of vehicles because yeah, they are more infantry focused faction, and also a lot of mobility in aircraft. You will see early on they have only ground vehicles, but later on they have a lot of airborne vehicles. You have a Rhino transport, which is your stick old standard Rhino can move, can shoot, can use smoke launchers and move units around. Then you have the Dreadnought over here, which is melee based in the beginning, can then Hellfire missile launchers. Not sure if this is a bug or intended, but for this Dreadnought you cannot choose the weapons independently, you have to cycle through them. So first you get the Hellfire missile launcher, then you can get the assault cannon, and then you get the last cannon. Last cannon is locked behind tier 3. I think this might be an oversight in the development, because the prices are not reflecting that they are behind each other. Maybe this will probably get fixed, or the prices get reduced, one of the two. Then you have the Land Speeder Storm, and the Land Speeder Storm, just look at it. It's not your standard Land Speeder where you have like 2 Space Marine. It's a Land Speeder where you have 4 scouts in it, so that's different. It's a little more expensive than your standard Land Speeder, because it also has this frag missile launcher. It not only has this heavy bolter here, and I think, is this also a bolter? I'm not really sure. But it also has these frag missile launchers, which makes them very potent. Also can get multi-melters, of course, for anti-vehicle capabilities. So the Land Speeder Storm is really effective, and we have seen it in the UGL already, and in some cars the Land Speeder Storm is pretty good. The price has been increased to make up for its increased capabilities. And lastly, we're in tier 2 already. Note that you have a Damocles. And the Damocles is a very nice unit. It's how much does it cost? I forgot. Relatively pricey, but it's not, and very low HP, as you can see here. But it's a support vehicle. It supports unit rounds, vehicles. It gives them increased damage and resistance. And they're currently unlimited, and the buff stacks. So this is something you might want to consider. Their cost, 1 vehicle pop has a dude here, but are very fragile and expensive, of course. Can use smoke launchers, and I think, not sure if this tier 3, I think this is tier 3 sensor map. They detect, and they can use sensor map, which increases their sight and detection range for a limited time. But I don't think, okay, they can actually move. Thought they need to be stationary, but they can actually move. And yeah, I think the big kicker is to have here, if you have a firing line of, say, let's Land Speeders and something else, you can just park them behind so they get buff the vehicles. The buff is only for vehicles, if I remember correctly. We can quickly check if we Deep Strike a Space Marine over here. Go on. Yeah, the buff is only for vehicles. You see no buff indicator. You see here the yellow for damage and the blue for defense, and we have no indicator here for the Space Marine, so it's only for vehicles. Yeah, in tier 3 you do not get any new vehicles. It's only in tier 4 when you get the Whirlwind, which is your long-range artillery support, limited to 1. And then of course the tier 1 Titan is a Warhound Titan, which starts off with these Inferno cannons and can get plasma cannons left on both sides. Has the Juggernaut ability, which makes him a little bit faster and also moves units around. Basically get out of jail free card if he is getting stun locked or tied down by melee units. And then you have the Leg Stomp, which also allows you to stomp units away once in a while. Yeah, has also the Void Shields, of course, to soak up some fire on the shields and stuff like that. So yeah, there you go. Warhound Titan, tier 1 Titan. And finally, we now talk about the aircraft. The aircraft starts to emerge in tier 3 with the Storm Talon over here. The Storm Talon is limited to 3, I think, not the most HP, but it has these deploy counter measures, which basically means it goes left and right and dodges stuff, but basically makes them invulnerable for quite some time. Has weapon load out of a missile launcher right away, and then in tier 4 less cannons, which can be very helpful. And in tier 4 also has this Shadowhawk infiltration. It's called Shadowhawk infiltration for some reason, but it can also get on other units. You can see it and makes it infiltrated for some time. Ignore this jump ability. This is a anti-stack measurement on some maps like this. In tier 4 you get the Stormhawk interceptors. Note that it's tier 4 because it's very strong. Can get the last Talon upgrade. Is this upgrading? I think it's upgrade of the bottom barrels over here. This is, I think, autocannons otherwise. Can use crack missiles or frag missiles on demand, and also can use the Shadowhawk infiltration or the infiltration. Quickly looking if it replaces the weapon over here. yeah, now has the less talon on the bottom, making it very potent. Also, note that it has not the deploy countermeasures, so you need to make sure to use it correctly, or it will die very easily. Very nice aircraft, but very late and expensive. Make sure you use it correctly. Then, as your relic unit, you have your Shadowhawk gunship over here, which is a Shadowhawk with a lot of different weapons around it. Can use missile launchers, which cost you 20 power for each missile, so you want to make sure to toggle it only when you need it. And also has this infiltration ability, which is very interesting and nice for a tier 4 relic unit. The UCS, the unit description states something about that it can be landed, but there's no land ability over here. Maybe this is intentional, maybe this is an oversight we will see once a new version is out. But yeah, very nice relic unit. And then you have also a super heavy unit for them, which is the Storm Raven Fury. So it's independent, but needs a critical and costs quite a lot. And is basically a Storm Raven. Cannot be infiltrated because it's even larger, I guess. And has also this interesting weapon thingy magics that you can upgrade also the top weapons and the front weapons. The top weapons to plasma guns and the top weapon to multi-melters, and these plasma guns can then further change to less cannon. So basically the same as the Demon Hunter Storm Raven you have access to for the I think it's for the Grey Knights, right? I think the Grey Knights have the Storm Raven Fury or the Storm Raven basically. You quickly see, you will see the plasma cannons over here then can be exchanged to twin-linked less cannons. So this is all the units and buildings. I hope I haven't forgot anything. There are no special survival units, so we can immediately jump over to the Techtrees. Yeah, if I have forgotten anything, you will quickly see a little jumping in stuff, but I think I have covered all. So yeah, let's see you in the Techtrees. And here we are on the Techtree documents, plural. You find these also in my Google Drive, link in the description. I have told you basically most of everything already. Quickly looking through it, there are of course the commander researches and stuff that we kind of know and expect. Deep striking is also noted here. So we can, as I have told you basically everything already, I can tell you more about the tier strengths. And I think they start off pretty well in tier 1 because they have the mobile commander, the brother captain. They have sprinting marines or very strong ASM already in tier 1. The scouts aren't as good because they cannot get any special weapons in the beginning. So like a special scout opening is not available for them. But in general they can hold their own, of course, in tier 1. And tier 2 I think is when they get online, when they get their first vehicles if need be. But most people like to play them infantry heavy, like getting the armory on your way to tier 2, get plasma pistols and all the different upgrades for your infantry, and then get a big old infantry blob in tier 2, either using the Vanguard veterans as melee or the Sternguard veterans in ranged, also getting the more Dayton of course for support. And then if you go for infantry blob, it lends to the 3 Kings variant for them with the Reclusiarch and the Librarian here, to have like with the product captain a good old 3 Kings game, mobile 3 Kings game with with jump packs and everything. So this is how most people like to play. You can also go tier 2 and then spam some rhinos and land speeders to be a nuisance vehicular wise. A dreadnought never hurts as well. And what I haven't seen so far a lot of is the actual usage of the Raven Perch in tier 2. Imagine in tier 2 being deep striked a few dreadnoughts in the back of your base in tier 2 already can be very good, I think, but it's also expensive to get this and then to get the dreadnought and then to get the vision and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe that's why we haven't seen them already. In tier 3, they kind of get carried because of their strong tier 2. Their tier 3 isn't the strongest of all. You get some new infantry, of course, in the Primaris and also your Terminators and Centurions. Also a new commander and stuff, but you do not get a whole lot of vehicles. You only get the Stormhawk Interceptor, which is it a Stormhawk? Or is this the Stormhawk? I think it is. I forgot the Stormhawk, and there's also this one. This guy over here, Storm Talon. This flyer, the first flyer, isn't the greatest tier 3 unit if you want to have some sustain. Like most marine factions get like a Predator or something in tier 3, so they have some durable vehicles to help them out with. And here you get a flyer, so they are very fragile, so you are very dependent either on your vehicles you have earlier or your infantry blob to carry you, and then have this really only as a support unit rather than having like this big old beefy unit to stand in front, and then your other units can work in tandem and behind it. So that must be noted. And then in tier 4 they can be really good because you have your commander, of course, but you also have with the 2 relic and super heavy flyers the possibility to get a big old fleet going with this, and also these guys, maybe even some artillery support, but I would recommend to go for these relic and critical units, of course, because then you have, as I said, big old air fleet, and a flying relic unit is always nice to have, I have to say. So they are kind of light tier 3, makes them up for a good tier 4, and then of course you have a tier 1 Titan. No other tier 1 Titan units and no tier 2 Titans, so yeah. In general you are good in tier 1 and tier 2, get a little not so good in tier 3 you can think of, and then tier 4 get some good units to finish games. Over here, also not really much to tell you about because I have already told you all the abilities and stuff in the save game. However, the thing I can tell you are which are the bonus squads for survival, which is a scout, a stone guard veteran, a dreadnought, one of these bigger flyers, and then the critical location flyer over here. Also, you get another one because why not? Okay, I think this should cover the tech tree, so then we can now jump into the build orders. And here we are in the build order document. Also in my Google Drive you can find them for all the factions I have updated and covered for the current version here. Quickly explanation, everything left and up from this line means you can get it with your starting money right away, and this is what you want to add in the meantime before getting tier 2. In general, because I was asked that before, in general this is the general principle of Dawn of War, is that you do not want to delay your listing posts. If you have captured a point you want to have immediately a listing post, that's why you want to delay some units later on, so you can always have your listing posts. Your quote-unquote standard opener is with 2 scouts and then a builder, because the scouts build fast, the builder builds slow. Get genless opener because the gen is very expensive, so you should in general get genless. If you want to get a gen, you will sacrifice quite a lot for it, and yeah, can be backfire quite a bit. And I always like to get a Space Marine first and then a commander, because the Space Marine can help to cap. You can't get it the other way around. You want to get 1 generator to get to tier 2, as well as a Space Marine to get some beef in tier 1, so you get a decently timed tier 2, and a plus 15 income here will allow you to start tier 2 with good money. You can also add a second generator on the way to tier 2. And of course, as most people do, add an armory. Then I have this called Stealthy Marines, where you get the hunt ability research over here. And then you want to prioritize Space Marines because they can sprint, they can be infiltrated. I think your commander can also get infiltrated, so you might as well get the commander here as well. But it also costs a lot of power, so you cannot get the generator, the commander right away. The commander costs 50 power and this costs 75 power, so this cancels it out, so you cannot get your commander early, so you will be stuck with Space Marines. So this can be very potent with annoying your opponent, get some decaps, get some damage in without the enemy being able to respond, especially if you surprise them with, because you see not a lot of people will open with the hunt that early. This, however, delays your second Tech Marine, so your economy will suffer a bit. And as I said, I would recommend to get some more Space Marines to get actually use out of this hunt research. Both of these you can also do a prolonged or heavy tier 1 if you then add an armory right away and get these upgrades. Normally, as you have seen in the tech tree, you get quite a lot of goodies in tier 2, so you do not want to stay tier 1 as long. If the enemy gets too aggressive, you want to meet that, of course, with more units yourself. Then you have the Dark Fury opener, which we have seen quite a lot in the past. You get your barracks, your armory, a second Tech Marine, because you want to get these as quickly as possible, 2 scouts, and then your Dark Fury Assault Squad. And then you can also get a second one later. And then the big question is, if you want to get the commander, or if you want to get an upgrade. Normally I would recommend always get a commander. You can get basically this costs 50 power, the commander gives 50 power, so you do not need a generator to get the 2 Dark Fury Assault Squads and your commander, which is I think what is the go-to thing. And then the question is, or you can question if you want to get these upgrades in tier 1, but having a flying commander with a Thunderhammer in tier 1 can be very, very nice. And then also the bionics to increase the durability of your relatively or very expensive Dark Furies. If you go for all of this relatively power intensive stuff, you might consider getting 2 generators, especially if you delay your first generator quite a lot. If you go for the commander early, then it can be one of the rare cases where you get 2 generators actually. But yeah, you can also argue that if you want to or need to reinforce these quite a lot, you can also get away with 1 generator and a little delay tier 2. And then this is I call rush. Ignore that, this would be changed. The idea is to get a lot of scouts out, because they can use sprint and immediately sprint to your opponent's point and cap them or decap them and be generally a nuisance with the first 2 scouts, then cap your own base with the second scouts. Use your builder sprint ability to get a aggressive turret as well in the face of the opponent, and then get your commander. So I think these turrets cost 45 power and your commander costs 50, so you can get both, and then want to add later more generators with it, and maybe get also the hunt ability to make your scouts more useful in a sense. So this can be sometimes be ignored if you get a quicker tier 2. So you want, of course you need at least one generator, but if you want to get these out, like the hunt and stuff, you might want to get a second generator. Why I tell you 2 more builders, because with a lot of scouts you will have a lot of listing posts and stuff to build on. I have tested this, for example, on Shrine of Exelion. You have scouts everywhere, wants and needs to build stuff everywhere, so this is why I consider a 3rd builder potent here. Also adds a bit more staying power with the commander armor. And lastly, of course, a tier 2 rush. This lends it very well to get very early rhinos, for example, and very early, what they call land speeders. I would recommend to get at least 1 or 2 rhinos to get some beef before getting some land speeders. As the usual with tier 2 rushes, it is very dicey in a sense that you can die pretty easily if you get attacked early on. But it can also give you the advantage and win your games pretty fast, depending on it. Alright, so this is the build orders. I haven't done more here because, you can adjust the build orders yourself, come up with your own build orders, and this is not strictly a way you must play, of course. You can find your own. If you have some interesting build orders for these guys, you can tell me. There was, I think, some build orders or a build order Connor Brett had, where he did something similar than this. Get the armory, a plasma pistol, and then delete it, I think, to get enough resources back and stuff like that. I think the armory delete stuff isn't the greatest for Raven Guard, because the Dark Fury Assault Squad are as expensive and stuff like that. So I don't think this is viable for them, in my mind. Maybe I'm wrong here, but yeah. All right, this now brings us to the last part of the guide. As usual, is a example replay. It's a game of Mr. Blue Dude against Sopace. Sopace plays the Raven Guard here. This game was casted by Mr. Lenchak quite a while ago, and I still have the replay lying around, and Sopace does the standard opener here, and I think it was in general quite a good game, so we jump over and see his perspective of this game and see what he does and what he does not. And here we are the example replay, where we have on the left side playing Harlequins, Mr. Bluetooth, and on the right side playing Raven Guard, it's Zopace, on that Define Archaeology. I think a map that is pretty good for Raven Guard because you can be very mobile with these thing over here. They're very talkative, and I'm not really sure if this is all very valid what they talk here, but yeah, you will see some stuff here. Yeah, you see the standard opener with two Primaris Scout Marines. That's basically their name because they have this little different pattern, I think, on them. And then getting his second builder, and only the crow's nest, I got corrected at some point, crow's nest, and a little change to my build order. He goes for the brother captain first, and later the Space Marines is preference. I like to have the Space Marines first because it can help you cap early on. Imagine like these guys being already over here. Space Marines coming out, capturing this, and then getting out of here. All the while your brother captain gets on the way out. So a little more economy focused is if you get the Space Marines first, which I usually prefer. But yeah, small things here. Two scouts capping. The brother captain will be on the way. So yeah, and let's see when the first engagement with the Harlequins occur. For now, not using the sprint ability as well. You can use the sprint ability for, let's say, from here to here to get a few seconds earlier the stuff. In comes the brother captain over here, getting now around the map. There comes the Great Harlequin, but in melee no match. The brother captain, as I said, can also stun, so you want to be aware of that. Missing also with the attack for now. Connecting attack on the mime. They are being yeah, very honest with them. Sprinting the Space Marines over here. You will see that they do not deal a lot of damage. Now that sprint wears off and they deal more damage. Need to be reinforced, of course. Great Harlequin goes into melee. The brother captain follows suit, going into melee with these mimes, getting a good old special attack on those. And yeah, the Space Marines, you can see already their viability being here quite quickly, getting a second Space Marine sword as well, getting his points. There's some engagement with some mimes here in negative cover, which the scouts need to disengage. But the main engagement is over here, where the brother captain killing a lot of mimes actually, and now dealing quite a lot of damage against the Great Harlequin. If you can land a stun, which has a chance to it, so you cannot really count on it in a sense, but yeah, in comes the attack marine artificer, helping out against these mimes in negative cover. The mimes, I think, would win if they wouldn't be in negative cover over here and be reinforced. And now attacking the middle point, brother captain would need to attack over here. One thing that you cannot attach him to Space Marine squad is that you cannot really save him, and that it is a little more micro intensive because he's a little faster than your Space Marines over here. So you want to make sure to always have an eye on your commander over here, a little more than the usual. Not very nice for guys like me, which aren't the greatest in micro over here. Yeah, Space Marines now shooting at mimes, and yeah, brother captain is really low now. It's not the first generator over here, only at minute 4, which is, as I said, the way to go, I think, for Raven Guard. Getting the decap and now fighting 2-on-1 over here. Brother captain needs to be very, very careful, but so is the Great Harlequin. Not really sure who will come out ahead over here. Will they both survive? Oh, the Great Harlequin is now attached to the squad and can't be focused, so wow. Narrowly escaping death over here, but brother captain actually coming in. What is he doing? Is he... Oh, he gets actually the brother captain and lives on his own. Very nice. Himself, I wanted to say. Resources are now there for tier 3 and tier 2, and he immediately does it. Very nicely done. Not getting an upgrade point, as some people like to do. You rather want to prioritize your tier 2 timing and then get a second generator. Come on, yeah. So the build order is very tinkered out, which I like. You can, with the money you get from this plasma generator, upgrade your points, which is better in many ways than delay your T2. I've seen it so many times that your T2 gets delayed for upgrading listening posts. It's always do it the other way around. Tech is more important than one upgraded listening post. The tech timing to this. Now is in between two tropes here, so he wants to use, there he goes, sprintability and getting out of this dicey situation, which is exactly what this is meant to. So you will not lose a lot of models when you're in dangerous situation, or you will at least lose less models than you would in other points. Okay, the decap was done by the tropes, but the captain is still alive over here, and here we see, oh, the Death Chest is coming with their Shrieker shots, I think, doing a whole lot of damage to infantry squad. And you can also see here on the way to tier 2, he gets the armory, can get now the plasma pistols, I think. There you go, this is the way to go. And once you're tier 2, also getting 2 upgraded listening posts with the power of the second generator, very nicely done, and has now a foothold. You can see here very nicely developed base over here. The only thing is that this plasma generator is a little far out. You would want to have it rather here. You can also get it with the sprinting units around. There's now a lot of damage with the Death Justice over here, killing a lot of things, but he wants to buy some time, I guess, for the listening post to get up. And once he has the listening post and the plasma pistols, is he getting sergeants as well, or is he upgrading? Okay, he's just reinforcing now. He wants to get some sergeants out, of course, for the plasma pistols. But yeah, now the listening post is upgraded, and these players, the tropes, do not have their confetti armor yet. So economy-wise, I think Mr. Bluetooth should be ahead. Quickly checking. No, he's not. I thought because he has the map advantage over here with the middle point, but Sopace now also has this critical location and has upgraded his points. Getting now, yeah, the Bionics, beefy lads over here. What is he getting as well? The more Laytan over here. This is the unit that will allow you to leave your base, I guess. You're getting some frag missile launchers, which I like. With a sergeant and units over here, he needs to get some more units in it, or he will lose his pricey stuff over here. Now what is he getting? The Marines move on over here, getting also, okay, the Keyboard Forge, so you can get some rhinos to transport these lads and be very annoying. You see some Death Jesters over here, they will kill all infantry very well, but they will not kill the listening post very effectively. You see it over here, the damage is mainly and primarily infantry and heavy infantry. In comes the Modatan, the Keyboard Forge is here, he can now get a Rhino, he has the resources. Also, okay, there was some infiltrated shenanigans, so he gets a Skull Probe out. And he gets, what does he get? A Landspeeder Storm. Okay, his units will stay on their foot, and he will use the Storm over here. There's now the Death Jesters, and you see the confetti armor has been researched, and this is very expensive to go in here. But does he still has? No, he does not have his scouts. His scouts with Hellfire, heavy bolters would be very effective over here. Okay, now the Product Captain in the heavy cover is something else. Goes in, decapping the critical location because the critical location timer has started. Oh, the Product Captain is a little too far out and get killed. Nasty. You see the knockback on these frag missiles is very impressive, and also sniping a few units here as well. Getting now, okay, he already has the multi-melter, which I find nice, so he can immediately start to bash this listening post over here. Getting now the targeters, another generator. Okay, so he will go for a lot of power. Is he going for tier 3? Normally you do not want to get that much power. Upgrading points, okay, that's something. And for now, sticking here in the middle, sticking in the heavy cover, and waiting for the opponent to make a move. There's now some infiltrated mimes with their fusion guns over here, so he might want to sprint the unit over. Okay, he gets the strategic point over here. And now, okay, you can jump back, or you can go to the enemy base and maybe see what they are up to. There are no generators to bash for Harlequins, however, so you want to bash the listening post. And there's now a Venom jumping in with Death Jesters, with Shrieker shots, or what they are called, doing a lot of damage against this squad. Only a handful of units remaining, and he doesn't see them or they turn, so that's something at least. They can now, wow, killing a lot of models. The Landspeeder has been killed now by the mimes, with fusion blasters. The question is, what is he going for now? Damocles and Land Speeder Storm. So the Damocles, I guess, for detection support, as well as infantry vehicle support, of course. Getting more generators, so he is playing the eco game really hard. Upgraded, not all, but quite a lot of points already. When it comes to Damocles, you need to be careful, however. This is only 500 HP, and there's the Venom eating some. It's not a lot of anti-vehicle. It's only some frag missiles, but I think the number of shots in the end is enough. And there you see the detection capabilities from the Damocles getting focused by these mimes, but there are some units to shoot these mimes. Wow, these are very, very good against infantry. And Speeder Storm now being added as well, and Stern Guard Veteran. So he goes for the good old tier 2 infantry blob with 2 squads of Space Marines, or Layton, and now the Stern Guard Veterans. Getting vehicle cap increase because he wants to get more of these Land Speeder Storms. You can see here now that they are buffed and damaged by the Damocles already. The question, however, is, oh, there comes a problem. That's a Wraith Walker, and the Wraith Walker has quite a lot of HP, and yeah, the damage, as I said, is buffed by the Damocles over here, but still, I think the vehicle capabilities of the Mordaton will be needed over here. The Venom is getting repaired and dies mid-air. That's sad. Getting another Land Speeder Storm over here, probably with a multi-melter as well. The Wraith Walker has been damaged quite severely, but so is the squad of Space Marines. I think, okay, this one squad over here is capping, the other one barely, almost killed over here, and the Wraith Walker will go down as well. Wow. But this is pretty harsh now. He has quite a lot of units, not very well reinforced, so this numbers might not be as accurate as you might think, because yeah, you need more lads actually out. The Mordaton is probably fully reinforced. This is normally the case. Stern Guard Veterans also, but your Space Marines is only a few lads with some special weapons, I guess. Can be died very quickly if you get some Shrieker shots in. Wow. There's another Wraith War Walker now with the right lance, wanting to deal with the vehicles, but there's, I think, too much now. Death Justice will not deal enough damage, I think, to it. We'll get one of these guys out. Problem is, will he get a second one? Doesn't look like it. Almost get it. Also getting now some economy upgrades is so Pace could click the tier 3 button if he likes to, and has quite a sizable unit composition out of here, outside of the opponent, getting some more bionics. And what I really would like to see is adding some Space Marines here to this Space Marine model systems, or getting another veteran squad out over here, because yeah, you are winning right now, but you're also floating a hell of a lot of resources, and there's no need to wait for tier 3 to do that. So this is a misplay on Soapits over here, which has now the upper hand. This included not, I think, maybe not using the Harlequins as the in the how should I say, in the effectiveness he normally shows them to use them. But maybe it's a hard matchup for them with the frag missile launchers and everything being very good against infantries, and he did go for an infantry build and stuff like that. As you can see here, your anti-vehicle for the Raven Guard can be a little difficult at times to field, but what you really want to have actually is some scouts here. He lost both of his scout squads earlier, and you want to have your scouts around in tier 2 and give them some crack missile launchers, some missile launchers to be able to fight against here. Damocles, I think it's a little overused by him. Ah, cool. Look, we have the what I call the assassins over here. Ghost Warrior Assassins. Very good in melee, I think. Yeah, very good in melee. Hold vehicles, yeah, our vehicle armor, and another Damocles bites to dust over here. Tier 3, however, is finished. So we can see now the Primaris over here. Or we can, if he gets the Raven Purge, can get something else. No, more Land Speeder Storms. So you want to make use of tier 3, it's in some shape or form. So getting maybe the Raven Purge for some what should I call it? Atramentos and stuff like that. Getting now the Tactics Wind. Increases units weapon. Okay, this is the first of the 2 researches. And yeah, again he stays in the middle, but now has also lost this point in the meantime because of some sneaky mimes. Great Harlequin barely survived, so he got rebuilt at some point. Getting now the Storm Talon, as I said, the tactical fat leg over here, or what is it called? Fart leg, whatever that's main. Yeah, now reinforcing those lads. As now 2 Stern got veterans out. Okay, these of course can now get the graviton gun and plasma cannon, so there's something useful, but yeah, anti-vehicle wise he has only these land speeder storms here and the more Dayton in a sense. Was it a more Dayton? No matter what. He has the Storm Talon now. The Storm Talon can also get from missile loadout, which I think it should. So anti-vehicle is his main weakness now. Now going here with the full army, and the issue is you go with the land speeder storm and you lack detection, so you need to get some skull probes out ASAP. Or the okay, the Damocles now is here to see these guys and kill them. Needs to get his points, and now coming the assassins again, but they are unsupported, only them here. Can they detect, or what detects them? I think they can detect, right? I think they can. Yeah, and all goes quiet for a bit, and there's the Primaris eliminators. You can see here that they, if they move, they are not infiltrated, only if they stay still. And I think when they shoot, they also get, you can also see them. So this must be the tier 4 upgrade or something, so that they can stay invisible. There's also now the Void Weaver. I like that. The Void Weaver is a support vehicle with a haywire stuff on it, which stuns and disables weapons. Not sure if it stuns, but it disables weapons, which is very neat.
Let them rally here.
Let them rally here. More units. There's now also the Sacred Artifact, so this is now getting all different things. He has now the Raven's Purge, so you can get the Terminators and stuff. And for now they are just looking over here. I might want to speed it up because nothing is really happening. Everyone is just building up. And there comes the engagement in the middle. Now the guys are, you can see when they shoot they get visible and then get invisible again. There was some big explosion over here, maybe some trigger shots that I've missed or something. And the vehicle shooting, you see that the White Weaver was disabling the weaponry on these Storm Talons over here, but yeah, the problem with his unit composition that his anti-vehicle isn't the greatest. It seems to be enough because Mr. Bluetooth has not a lot of durable vehicles, but you can see that it could be a problem. He has not upgraded to the missiles, I think. We would have seen it using the, but it gets buffed, or do the aircraft get buffed by the Damocles? That's something I also want to check. Now he has the hunt begin, so he can get this unit infiltrated. In comes the Bright Lance unit over here, focusing down on the Land Speeder Storm for now, because it's the only counter, really. I will get the Damocles as well, I think. Damocles is too fragile for that. In comes the Storm Talon, so we cannot tell because the Damocles is not here. But yeah, he has still a lot of resources. Could get and should get another generator. Now gets the Stranger. And as I said, should get... Okay, he has no infantry pop, he will get some. And then he will have the Assault Centurions, and then he can get in. There's the Graviton gun. Dealing quite a lot of damage. This is some anti-vehicle for you. Tier 3, kind of. Storm Talon not getting any weapon upgrades yet. Another Storm Talon over here fighting some assassins over here. And the assassins might actually win. Maybe, okay, maybe they don't. Another Damocles, so he wants to have some mobile detection, I guess. Yeah, not using any jumping troops for Raven Guards, which is interesting. People like to use them, but he plays them like a big infantry block. Here you see the infiltrating capabilities of this drop pod. Other Damocles being added over here. I think they are shrouding, or at least trying to, or no, I think this is the power ability. In comes the Assault Centurion with dual flamers or inferno cannons. It looks like very long flamers, at least under their wrists over here. In comes some, not of these posty little assassins over here, but they are unsupported. Not sure if there's actually an army left for Mr. Blue, because this really doesn't look it. There's only one war walker, and now his production gets camped here in the mask portal. And yeah, that's the Strangers were adding some Vulcan weaponry, and as well as some regeneration for everyone around. So yeah, this should be the end of things. Getting now also the tactical milestone, making now that the units get increased accuracy when using it, so you can use it as a damage buff, and can use the infiltration if you fully upgraded it as a regeneration buff. So you have now offense and defense combined. Stranger being very useful over here. Now Hunt continues. Okay, that's the second one of these, the Storm Talon. Yeah, so basically get I think I like the Raven Guard. There you go. In comes the Solitaire, I think it was, if I see it correctly from the game. Yeah, he wanted to get the Solitaire out. Can now focus the Solitaire and see what he can do over here. Dealing a lot of damage. He's very good on his own, but yeah, he will not win against the whole army over here. Dealing a lot of damage, however, so yeah. Tier 3.5 unit for Harlequins. Very infantry focused, quite a switch up from Salamander. Yeah, Sope is the Salamander main. I think he can play a lot of Space Marine kind of factions, but mains Salamanders. Okay, this now ends this guide video. If you, as usual, if you have something additionally to tell me or correct me, some facts that I did have gotten wrong here in the video, please put it in the comments. I will mark, or how should I say, pin comments that have some corrections and additional information that I miss. And also, if you like these kind of guide videos, also make sure to hit a like and leave some supportive comments. That always helps me motivate for the next guide, because yeah, as you might see, these are quite a lot of work to get done, but I think are worthwhile. But yeah, enough of this talk. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.